Okay, so I'm just going to go through this hopefully pretty quick. I have the frame rate lower so that this video isn't absolutely massive, since I imagine this is going to be like 5 minutes plus. Okay, so what have I done in this branch? So we have GLS nodes. You can see strobe. So the reason that this is green is because we have a strobe color of green. And even though we're strobing to 0, we still transition to green on the way down. So you can actually see we're strobing to 0, but we are still fading to green. So the way that I've done the strobe rendering is like this. And if we pull out the custom colors, you will still see that we show the darkness of the strobe now. So now you have a visual, like even if you're just doing normal GLS nodes, you have a visual of, how dark you're making your node. So that brings us to all of the angle scroll stuff, which is super cool. So, you've got your Alt up and down. You've got your Control Alt up and down for your strobe rate. You get your Control Shift Alt up and down for your strobe brightness. As you can see, that brightness shows up here. So that's cool. Now, if we place other nodes in this lane, I'm placing Chroma nodes right now, as you can see. So we end up with these, we can drop the strobe brightness or whatever. They do the same thing. But what's really cool is if we leave here, you can actually see where this node group starts, but you have this preview of all these other nodes that are in your group. And if you mouse over, you get that nice highlight, right? If you try and select any of them, it selects all of them. By the way, this is the new select box. As you can see, it's fully locked to the cursor, stays as you scroll forward and back. Everything's beautiful. It even will continue to go up and down when you're outside the lanes, so no more of that glitchy like snapping where you didn't happen to put your mouse right on the lane or whatever, and now you're not selecting the stuff you wanted to select. It's just a nice continuous forward and back fade. Back on topic. So you can see these ghost nodes, and you get that highlight. If you select one, it selects them all, right? So it's either all or none. You can edit the whole thing, right? Now, if I want to enter this group, I can click on any of them, and you can actually see the one that I clicked on is the one that's selected in here. So if I just want to edit one of these nodes, I can click on it and immediately hit N, and I am already editing the one that I clicked on in that outer view. By the way, I added that edit. You couldn't edit these inside before since they aren't actually a base level event. So I added that. What else? God. Just going through my notes here. Oh yeah, so I showed you the angle scrolling. We've got more angle scrolling. You can angle scroll out here. So you don't even have to enter the GLS event box now to tweak your nodes. You can do all of the same things that you can do inside out here. So that's super fun. Same thing goes for your translation nodes. So Control Alt is now easing. So you can cycle through your easings, and then obviously Alt is, just your raw value. So, we've got this thing moving back and forth up here. We can change the easing between, all that fun stuff. Same thing for effects. It's just easing and value. For rotation, rotation's pretty fun. Rotation's got a lot of stuff. So Control Alt is still easing, but then we've got Control Shift Alt, which is your loop count. We've got Alt, which is your rotation value, and we've got middle click, which is swapping your rotation. So you can now control basically, I think that's literally everything that you can even control about rotation, just from the mouse bindings, without having to go edit JSON. What next? So that covers all of that. Color nodes are interesting. We've got a lot of stuff that we can do with color nodes now. So we've got all of this UI here. So you're probably already familiar with this stuff. Fade, right? It's just the transition type. But we have strobe color now. So in addition to chroma color over here, we've got this. And you can click on either one of these. So if you click on this, it will also enable strobe color and open the color picker. So we've got this whole strobe color picker. It's beautiful. It is linked to this color picker. So if I like this preset, both color pickers get that preset. I can just add things from either one of these. Presets are saved. And you can also pick from any of your other like object colors. So if I want to use, if I want to start placing lights, my wall color, I can just use my wall color from here. I can use my boost color. I can use my lighting color. I can use my note color. So there is that. Obviously, presets do preset things. And then, as you already saw, we get that strobe color here and the dual color. Everything is all nice and supported. So like you can have strobe color and no chroma for the main color. So like this is totally fine and it will work. And now if I go change my main color, well, that should have reset, but it didn't. If I exit and reload though. So let me jot that down as a bug. Changing primary color doesn't update GLS band. Cool. If I come back in, it should be blue. Yeah, see. So we've got that. I think that's pretty much everything on GLS nodes. There is, I have thought about making middle click transition the lighting's easing instead of doing the color swap, but I imagine a lot of people are pretty used to doing like primary, secondary colors, so it probably is good to keep that, but I couldn't think of another. I mean, I guess maybe we could bind Control-Shift-Scroll to this to scroll easing. But anyways, that's that. So let's go to basic event and let's actually go to a different map. So let's do why not? We'll just look at this one. So we have got basic events and somewhere here is ring zoom. I forgot how far in it was. Yeah, here we go. So this is where some other stuff gets really cool. So we have, this might not be a super great example because of the overlap. So we've got all the data from Chroma rendered now in ring zoom notes. So obviously I can place a raw normal ring zoom node and I can replace a raw normal, or that's ring rotation, this is ring zoom. But if I alt scroll, right, we get our nice height and we can also do, our float scrolling. Actually, I guess you could always do that on these. Control-Alt will do your speed, right? So yet again, we've got mouse control on here. And then middle click will invert. So we have light if it's in the normal direction, and then we have dark if we're inverting the ring zoom towards you. Same thing goes for rotations. So a generic rotation with no direction is just going to be this gray. And then a clockwise rotation is white. So you can see these are clockwise. And then if I middle click, we can do counterclockwise, and then we can go to no rotation specified. On our ring rotation, we've got Alt, obviously, for rotation. We've got Control-Alt for speed. We've got Control-Shift-Alt, not bound to anything, apparently, because I only just got that working and forgot to bind it. Rotation, ring node, control, shift, alt, unbound. I will deal with that shortly, probably before I even submit the PR. So we've got that. That's all fun and cool. We have height now bound to the rotation, right? So you get these nice visuals of like where your ring is about to rotate. I'm not married to how high this is. If we think that's too high for a 360-degree rotation, we can make it shorter. I don't care. I just thought that having a visualization of how much we're rotating our rings is sick. So we've got that. Beyond that, so let me look through my notes again. So we have talked about GLS ghost nodes. We've talked about the selection box being all fancy and smooth now. We talked about copy paste and everything should work fine. I haven't tested this stuff in a while, so I'm actually not going to be surprised if it breaks here. Yeah, that's interesting. Noted. Yeah, I'll have to look at that. Jot that down in my notes. Shift, or well, control, left, right, ring rotation on multi-track ring rotation. I don't know if that's related to this having the clone track or not. We'll see. Oh, this is the this is completely untested. That's why it's broken. All right, hang on. This is not the right map. This is my attempt to actually clone a separate ring track. What I meant to open is just this. This one might also break though, for all I know. And another thing that you'll notice, good time to talk about it, is that we loaded in right here in the map. And we loaded in with the values that I last had set. We loaded in with the stuff I last had selected. If I were in the GLS tab, it would have opened me up to the GLS page that I was on. So basically this entire editor state, I'm now serializing to a JSON file, which does not go into the zip file. That includes your colors. So if we go back to that map that I was editing, if I had saved before I exited, which I probably didn't, we would have that map specific color palette saved and loaded. So you can be editing multiple maps and your color palette over here will save per map in the maps directory. So every time you come back and work on it, you're working with your same color scheme again for this map, rather than like having, the global one that, you'd have to like change out every time you swap between your maps or whatever. Back on topic. Ideally, this will work. Probably it's still going to break. It's throwing errors, but it's working. Cool. Yeah, so we've got that. Things that I don't have. This is probably not a great map because it has all of this stuff. Let me go to probably, why not this one? So we can talk about lighting nodes here real quick. I did add a little bit to this. These were already pretty good. There wasn't a whole lot of UX to add. I do want to fix this middle expanding bug. Keep forgetting to track it down. So one thing that I added here is Control-Alt-Scroll to toggle HSV on and off, as well as your node type. So I basically treat transition HSV as its own node type as we cycle through. So you can Control-Alt-Scroll through all these node types. So we can do flash, fade, blah, 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 right? And then also a HSV transition all from here. Don't think there's anything special other than that about the lighting nodes. And then I don't think I touched anything at all with notes or anything. This should all be exactly the same as it was. Oh, the mirror button. Yeah. So we've got the mirror button back. It should work everywhere. I haven't tested it like super crazily extensively everywhere, but like, it works. I think it mirrors relative to what you have selected, which is strange. Yeah. So something might be weird there. If we go back to the beginning of this where I have light IDs, Alt P. Gotta fix this bug, by the way. I don't know what this is about, but light ID on the outer track for Kaleidoscope has no color. Like the main one has color, but for whatever reason, if you try and do light ID, there's no color. Super strange. Anyway, back on topic. So all this stuff works. As we discussed, the shifts left and right now go relative to the visible nodes or the visible lanes. So instead of these like doing some crazy shifting where they're going into like invalid light IDs, since a lot of these are not actually these numbers, we just stay on there. I don't know why there's errors. Need to look at that. I'll figure that out before I submit this PR. God, what else? Yeah, I'll figure out what's slow there too. It's probably the errors, but I don't know. Control Shift still works for the scroll precision, by the way. I know that was brought up with the GLS nodes. So basically, I only hijack that key binding when you are hovering over a GLS node. So if I'm right here, Control Alt Shift scroll does the scroll precision up and down up there. But if I'm hovering over this, it does the light level. Note to self, that log needs to be removed. Action of type log. Yeah, so I think that's it. That's pretty much all of it. I have beat the hell out of this testing it. Obviously, I missed a few things with the basic event stuff because I haven't messed with the basic event stuff in a minute. I've been hammering on GLS. I believe there's still a couple of glitches with the previews. I've been more focused on getting the user interface all hammered out, and then I will get, after this PR, I'm going to go through all of my test maps that I use to build ChromaGLS, and I am going to make sure that the ChroMapper GLS renderer exactly matches the game for all of those scenarios, because I beat scenarios to death too. But yeah, super dope. Hope you guys like it.